Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe on this Friday. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at some recent transfer rumours regarding Chelsea and also praising the form of N'Golo Kante. But before we get into any of that good stuff, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit the like button if you're enjoying the content because it helps out the channel as well. And also want to thank Louis Benavente, friend of mine and of the channel, for sending me this new Imperial Wolf home shirt. It's a wonderful shirt. Louis' team, Imperial Wolf, they've recently started their league season. You can go and follow the journey of Imperial Wolf FC on their YouTube channel, link in the description box below. But you can also now buy the home shirt. Please support Louis' team, Imperial Wolf. That's growing and getting better. And I have to say, the design of this shirt is absolutely wonderful. I mean, I hope Nike take inspiration from this shirt to create the future Chelsea home shirts, because I think the design of this would be like my dream design for a lot of Chelsea shirts moving forward. So please support Louis' work, his Imperial Wolf team, descriptions for all of that stuff, the Twitter account, where you can buy this shirt, their YouTube channel as well, all in the description box below. So please go and support Louis' work. And thank you, Louis, once again for sending me this wonderful shirt. But let's get into the news I'm going to be talking about and the transfer rumours recently this week from Eurosport. Dean Jones, who I think was formerly of Bleacher Report, posting this article the other day. Chelsea want Jude Bellingham, Frank Lampard likes Ross Barkley and the players who will leave. So we're going to touch on two things: how Chelsea apparently want Jude Bellingham from Borussia Dortmund and also Kepa's future as well. So firstly, this Jude Bellingham thing and how it links into the pursuit of Declan Rice. So this is what Dean Jones said in his article. Lampard would still love to sign Rice, but the valuation from West Ham remains high. And there is another name that is starting to be whispered around Stamford Bridge. If they can't get Declan Rice, sources are indicating there are figures at the club who feel it could be worth waiting for England's newly capped wonder boy, Jude Bellingham, instead. Chelsea are going to keep close tabs on the player's development at Dortmund, but are very aware that he is one of the most promising teenage midfield players around. Bellingham had interest from the Premier League before moving to Germany, particularly from Manchester United. Chelsea have always monitored him though and like the fact he can play as a number 6 or number 8. The Blues have confidence they can convince almost any player in the world to become part of what Lampard is building. That last sentence fills most Chelsea fans with joy, and I think when we look at the last transfer window, you can't really argue with that based on the incredible work we did in the summer transfer window with some incredible signings for sure to improve the first team. In terms of Jude Bellingham, it's a bit of a left field sort of link, to be honest. When I think of Bellingham and seeing his growth at Birmingham before moving to Dortmund last summer, he seemed to be more of an attacking player. So to link him with us in terms of solving, if you want to call it that, I'll talk about Kante later, the DM problem, is a bit weird to me. It's the Dortmund formula, isn't it? You know, sign a promising young player, get them into the first team, they grow, they develop, they get better, and then you sell them off for a high fee later on. That is the Dortmund formula that's worked so well. I mean, look at Christian Pulisic moving from Dortmund to Chelsea in, 2019, the January transfer window there. And just taking Chelsea's rumoured interest in Bellingham out of this for a second and thinking about Bellingham and sort of going across to the Bundesliga, I think it's really exciting to see more English players going to the Bundesliga to get football and seeing their growth. I mean, I'm sure Bellingham is looking up to Jadon Sancho as sort of inspiration for his trajectory at Dortmund, and you know how Sancho, after leaving Man City at a very early age to go across to Germany, how he's become one of the most coveted players in European football. And I'm sure Bellingham and Dortmund similarly are hoping that can be the same thing again, because as we saw with Sancho this summer, you know, Man United going up to about 100 million potentially to sign Jadon Sancho. So I'm sure for Bellingham that's the hope and the aim in the long term. But for me, in terms of Chelsea, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I also think Chelsea's pursuit of Declan Rice isn't going to go away anytime soon. I mean, from what I've been reading from Matt Law, Simon Johnson, had Dan McCarthy on the channel a few weeks back. Just the point I would make about Bellingham and going for a younger option here in terms of solving this DM issue in the long term for Chelsea, I may sound like a broken record, but I think it is a valid point to continue to bring up now. Billy Gilmour returning from injury recently, which is good, but also Ethan Ampadu. How Chelsea have potentially saved millions over the past couple of seasons promoting the likes of Reece James, Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham getting into the first team under Lampard. That's saving millions in key positions. And I just wonder, Chelsea can think about this. If they can't get Declan Rice, why not promote Billy Gilmour as we have in the past? Why not bring back Ethan Ampadu? You could save a lot of money here. And I just wonder why, looking at a player who is so young in Bellingham, who may not even be a number 6 in the long term, you know, potentially can play there, but to me looks more like an attacking player, even can play as a striker. I don't think that's the best bet. Bellingham may turn out to be a brilliant player for Borussia Dortmund and become a coveted player in a couple years' time. But Chelsea have a pretty good academy, so I don't see why we shouldn't be looking internally for some options at the moment. Let me know your opinions on this rumour in the comments below. And also, just a quick thing, Dean Jones talking about Kepa Arrizabalaga and about a potential loan. Dean Jones reports that a loan move in January is almost certain, as it is the easiest way to get around his big fee and wages in the short term. They'd be happy to let him leave temporarily for this season in January, then work on a permanent plan for the summer. That doesn't surprise me, to be honest, if Kepa does leave on loan. I mean, Chelsea currently have 4 first-team goalkeepers, including Petr Cech, in the first-team squad for the Premier League, especially, and that's very much a precaution based on this COVID situation we find ourselves in, where if a player tests positive, you could have multiple players out for one game. So I understand that, but still, Kepa's future, it does feel like the exit is getting nearer and nearer with every week that passes. It's just about where does he go. I think it's most likely he returns to Spain, either alone or permanently. This is going to be Mourinho's biggest challenge of getting any fee for Kepa at this point, based on the fact he's barely getting any play time at the moment. I think even for a second choice goalkeeper at the moment, I would prefer Willy Caballero over Kepa. And there's also that sense that, Willy's coming to the end of his career now. We gave him the contract extension last summer. He's not going anywhere this season. But for Kepa and for Marina, she worked wonders with the Morata fee from Atletico Madrid in 2019, wasn't it? That really benefited Chelsea last summer in terms of what we could spend. But I think for Kepa, you're looking at anything like maybe 25 million, I think would be a brilliant fee for Kepa, to be honest, at this point. But is he going to get any playtime for Chelsea other than for Spain potentially? That's not going to happen. And, that was the last international break to watch. So if he doesn't get into, say, the FA Cup teams post the new year, when's he going to play? And that's going to be the big thing. But what team is willing to take Kepa even on loan? That's the big issue for Chelsea that they need to sort out. And then, of course, in the summer, finding a permanent club for him. And finally, I want to praise N'Golo Kante. These stats here about his season so far and the improvement we've seen in N'Golo Kante, who has made the most tackles and interceptions combined of midfielders in the Premier League so far this season, and the most tackles and interceptions combined of midfielders in the UEFA Nations League. Of course, he had a brilliant international break for France, scoring the winner against Portugal and just having brilliant games all round the performances, and seeing that, and of course being injury free. And that for me is the big thing for N'Golo Kante this season. We'll talk about, lone DM and his best position, and, finding out if the lone DM as the number 6 now in the midfield three is going to be his sort of future under Frank Lampard at Chelsea. But just having N'Golo Kante fit again is a blessing. It really is. And wherever he's playing, it was going to improve Chelsea, no doubt. I was absolutely sure about that. But the big thing for me is this fitness. And I also think it's managing N'Golo Kante well this season. That's the big thing for Frank Lampard and the medical staff that we saw rear its head over and over again last season, overplaying Kante. And I think it's like twofold this next period of games for Chelsea. For me, it's managing Kante's fitness well, but also learning if the 4-3-3 and Kante as a lone DM is going to be the answer, because we've seen it pre the international break. It worked really well, but Chelsea are going to be tested majorly in this next period of games. We've got the Tottenham game, we've got Everton away, we've got Man City, we've got Arsenal, other tough games in there as well. And we're really going to find out not only about this Chelsea team overall, how strong and improved they are, but also I think specifically about that midfield balance issue, whether Frank Lampard has rectified it now with N'Golo Kante sitting at the base. But I think going into this next period, we're going to find out how strong that midfield really is against the likes of Spurs. But I do think in Frank Lampard's case, will he go with the 4-3-3 against Spurs, or will he revert to the 3-4-3 that worked so successfully against Mourinho last season? We saw this at Old Trafford a few weeks back, where he did switch to the 3-4-3 in the last sort of proper big game, I guess you'd say, at Old Trafford. That's going to be the intriguing thing, and how Lampard, if he's a little bit more pragmatic or goes for his plan A, which is probably the 4-3-3. But I always felt this season keeping N'Golo Kante fit was the main priority to really improve Chelsea's chances on the pitch. And I think we've seen that improvement, whether he's as a number 8, a number 6, or in a pivot. He's such a unique midfielder, a world-class talent that Chelsea have to have on the pitch to improve our chances. And it's great to see him flourishing potentially as that lone DM at the moment. Please let me know your opinions on the N'Golo Kante situation, him remaining fit, him playing really well at the moment. Do you think he's key to Chelsea's title chances this season? Please let me know in the comments below. But thank you guys for taking the time to watch this episode of Let's Talk Chelsea. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. You can also follow me on Twitter at Son of Chelsea. Have a great day, and I'll see you again.